And hey, Tony Gapastone here with another episode of the Brave Maker Online Experience and the Brave Maker Podcast. And I'm here with my great little co-host, Christina Jackson.
Hey, what's going on, Tony? It's so good to be back for another episode.
And we're starting a whole new segment today. So we're really excited that we are launching a new thing that is going to be chronicling the life and the journeys of a dancer, an actress, and a singer. Her name is Zoey Lytle, and I'm going to welcome Zoey into the broadcast. Zoey.
Hello, good to be here.
Hey, Zoey. So
Hi.
Here.
So Zoey and I go back 5 years when Zoey was interning with me. I had this other little production company, and she was in high school. And I've been so proud to watch her grow into all of her skills and abilities doing theater in California. And now she's living in New York. So we're going to hear all about that. And she's going to join us about once a month to talk about her progress and hopefully inspire all of you watching out there and listening on the podcast to go after your dreams. So Zoey, let's hear it. Kind of give us the backstory. Do you remember when we first connected and how that all happened? And let's hear a little bit of a summary of your life.
Totally. I mean, back when I met you, I want to say I was a sophomore in high school, and it was back when Brave Maker was still Sun City Media. Yep. And I remember I went to one of the meetups called Creative Crew with my mom and then talked to you about interning, and I did. And it was honestly fantastic experience. I want to say I was there for 4 years. Is that right? Something like that. It was a while. And yeah, it was super helpful. I actually just got a new job that frankly I would not have been qualified for without that internship. So I'm very, very thankful for it. But yeah, other than that, yeah. I've been a performer for pretty much my entire life. Like I saw my first professional show when I was 4, connected with it, told my mom that I was like 100% sure that that's what I wanted to do for my entire life. And I pretty much have. I've mostly been going down the dance route, but over the last 4 or 5 years, I've gotten a lot more connected to singing and acting side of it as well. So yeah, I've always wanted to do musical theater. I was in my first professional show at 7 and pretty much haven't stopped. So being in college and in high school, I was still able to work professionally in regional theater in the Bay Area. And yeah, it's been pretty good. I got to the point because I graduated this year in 2020, which is not the best year to graduate, but it's okay. And I was always planning on moving immediately after graduation. And I was going to kind of delay the move with Corona, but decided to just come out here anyway, because I know this is where I eventually want to be. And so it's been a really good for me to honestly just kind of get set up and get comfortable and be all settled in and have a nice comfy day job. So that by the time things actually come back, I'm not kind of scrambling to get everything together. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
That is so amazing. So Zoey, can you talk a little bit about your journey as an artist? When you started with Brave Maker, what was your vision for your future? What did you see yourself ultimately doing?
Yeah, I've always been planning on being a professional performing artist. That's always been my goal. Specifically within theater, I've done a little bit of film too. And I got interested in Brave Maker because starting when I was 8 years old, I got really into video editing. And so I make all these little short films with my friends and things like that. And that's something that I've always continued really enjoying. And so I wanted to have a little bit of professional experience with that because I'd like theater to be my career, but I'd also love to include film and media in that somewhere, either on the production side or in the acting side. And now I've done a little bit of both. And this job I just got is a little more on the production side. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of experience within that.
To give Zoey some kudos, when I first met her and she was interning, she was just up for anything. And as a sophomore in high school, I was just super impressed with the fact that she was willing to drive to Redwood City because she was living, in southern San Jose at that point, or Cupertino, around that area. So she was driving herself, as a teenager, to my office to edit. She was editing projects. I would take her on our film gigs with us and she would run camera. I was eventually, after a year or two, I actually gave her she just ran a client session. Remember, you were doing one of those gigs with a legacy video for us, and she full on went on her own and met with the client. It was, you are really a go-getter, and you are exactly the type of person that will make it in this industry, because you have to have that go-getting mentality. It's hard. There's so much rejection. There are so many people out there who are vying for these positions, and you truly cannot be lazy. You truly cannot just go, well, it's just going to happen, or twiddle my thumbs, hope someone else makes it happen for me. You really took the reins of your passions, of your dreams, of your goals. And I really just saw you go after it. So I've always been super impressed with your work ethic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, can you tell us a little bit about that? Talk to us about your mindset. Like what is your thought process when you're approaching projects?
It's a good question. I mean, I've always, I don't know, I guess to a certain level just had a really big internal drive to do this. And it's something that, I don't know, when I think about it, there's really nothing else I've ever wanted to do other than like the performing arts and film and stuff like that. And it's just like, I know that if I want to do this, I have to kind of do time and be extremely dedicated to it. Yeah, and also when it comes down to it, something that's very helpful for me is that my hobby and my career have like very much coincided. Like they're kind of one and the same. And so that makes it really easy to work on, because frankly, whenever I have free time, like what I feel like doing is making music and singing and acting and working on my stuff and like dance training and stuff like that. And so it's really easy to be motivated when you love what you do.
I would just keep encouraging, to all of the aspiring artists and performers and filmmakers out there, like it really is a long haul, and to kind of watch this, bloom in your life has been really encouraging. That's why I was really excited when I saw you were moving to New York. I got the idea of going, all right, we need to chronicle this. You are already chronicling. You started a YouTube channel. We'll talk about that in a second. But I thought, it feels like it was just yesterday. I was in New York in October, which, 3 months later, we were in the pandemic. So it felt like, time has been like going like that. But when I was in New York, I got to go to a bunch of shows. I saw Hamilton. I saw a play called Slave Play, which was amazing, by an amazing filmmaker or a playwright named Jeremy O'Harris, who now has a deal with HBO. But what was happening in New York has always been super exciting. It's been like this haven of people's dreams. And when I was there too, I felt so invigorated. And I kept thinking like, oh, I'm there, this one little person in this big city, and it's so large. And I want to find a way for Bravemaker to make a dent in the entertainment industry, which includes New York. So when you were there, I thought, boom, 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 this is great. We're gonna partner with Zoey. We're gonna follow her journey. We're gonna elevate all the work that you're doing, and we'll be sharing it on our pages. So if you are listening to this podcast, watching it live or on the replay, please follow Zoey's journey. Go on her Instagram page, Zoey Lytle, Lytle. That's her Instagram, ZoeyLytle. Follow her journey, because we want to be supporting her. But yeah, let's talk. Going back to, okay, so you decide to pick up and move in a pandemic. You got a job. You started a YouTube vlog. Tell us more about kind of what you see this next year looking like specifically for you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this year's kind of funky in that, obviously the reason I'm here is to be auditioning and performing, which realistically is not going to be a viable thing until either early or mid 2020. So what this year is about for me, frankly, is one, making sure I'm keeping my skills up, which is definitely a challenge to do right now. So I've been taking a lot of like online dance classes and like training with my vocal coach over Zoom and just like working on monologues and stuff like that. So doing my best to like maintain my skill set where it's at. And then also just to basically get situated, which basically I've done at this point. And then also to get a job and be able to like save up enough money that as time progresses and things might get a little crazier, that I am not struggling to provide for myself. So that's really what this year's been about. It's kind of about setting up for the future. And then also I started the vlog channel just because I wanted to keep some kind of creation in my life, because I can't really create in the ways that I'm used to creating that I generally do. So yeah, I started something a little bit different. And in my channel, basically, I'm just kind of talking about my journey and just, yeah, it's basically a chronicle of what's been going on with me. I only have 2 videos up there right now. I've only been doing it for 2 weeks, but I post every Tuesday. So I'll be posting tomorrow. And yeah.
I'm muted. So I'm proud of you for starting the YouTube channel. And I mean, it's a great way, even if you start it solely something like that for yourself, like you do it for you, because you have to do it. You have to create, right? So I hear you saying that you did it so you can, funnel some of that creative energy and passion into something. And so you're thinking, okay, so Broadway, is that the ultimate goal, is to be singing, dancing, and acting in a show on Broadway at some point?
That would be the ultimate dream, yeah. But honestly, at this point, like I'm kind of open to anything. Like as long as I'm making a living, doing what I do, as long as I'm dancing and singing and getting paid to do it, I'm pretty much happy. So yes, that's the long-term goal. But yeah, a lot of things can be included in that.
That is so beautiful. So how are you overcoming your fears to move forward with your dream?
Honestly, interestingly enough, this wasn't really scary for me. It was more scary for me not to do it because I was more concerned about getting comfortable in the Bay Area scene and not ever taking myself beyond that. Because in the Bay and in San Francisco and Oakland and San Jose, there's a lot of wonderful, beautiful theater companies, and I've been involved in them since I was 6 years old. And I'm very comfortable, and I know everyone. And generally, when I go into an audition, I'll know like 2 or 3 people at the casting table. And so it's a very comfortable place for me to be. And I know I'm going to get work, and it's not, yeah, there's no pressure anymore. Not that there was no room to grow, but I just felt like it was time for me to try something new and sort of like raise the ceiling that I could hit a little bit. And so, yeah, it scared me more to not do it at all.
That's perfect. That is such a phenomenal response. Like if you're comfortable, might be time to shake things up, right?
Yeah.
We talk a lot on this podcast and on the show about what it means to be a brave maker. And, being a brave maker really does mean conquering your fears and going after your dreams. But I love that you're saying it's actually scary not to do it, to actually fall back into, well, let's just be safe, right? Let's just get a job. Do you have, you must have the support of all of your friends and family to pursue it, but do you have people saying, get a backup, plan? Do you have people saying, save money, or, have a timeline that if you don't make it at a certain time that you then shift gears? Is there anything going on with that in your life?
A little bit. I have been very, very lucky with the family that I have, and frankly, like my chosen family, I always call them, like my friends that I bring into my life. Like I don't bring them into my life unless they're supportive. So yeah, the friends that I have are just endlessly supportive and have been behind me like every step of the way. And yeah, I've been very lucky with like my parents and family too. When I first decided I want to do this when I was like 4 or 5, they had their questions at first, but ever since I've been like super dedicated to pursuing it and working on it so consistently, like there's been nothing but support from there. Interestingly enough, like the questions about like whether this is a good idea or what my backup plan should be, or like, okay, but what's your real job, hasn't come from the people that are close to me in my life. Like they're more peripheral acquaintances. And that's always very strange to me because it's like I didn't ask for your opinion. But the people who are actually in my life directly have been very supportive.
Yeah, that is interesting when you get the unsolicited advice from people who are basically projecting on you their own fears, their own safety, because maybe they gave up too soon. And, the reality is this is a hard life in general. Life is difficult to survive. We're in, the perfect evidence of that is 2020. Being a human in 2020 is difficult. Then you add on top of it all of these injustices, misogyny, homophobia. But a person pursuing the arts now, when the arts are really being impacted, yeah, there's going to be some pushback and there's going to be some question and concern. But I'm super inspired by you, by anybody who says, I'm going to keep pushing through it because it matters. And yes, we all need to be making money and paying bills and being creatively fulfilled. And can we find that ground, that mid ground in there, someone to go, oh, cool, I have a job, I'm making things, I'm feeling creatively inspired and alive. Maybe nobody knows my name, or my name isn't in lights at this point yet, but is that really the end goal, right? The end goal is how do I just live out my purpose and feel fulfilled on a regular basis? That's really cool. I like that. Christina, you have any other comments or thoughts?
I just think that's beautiful how you put that. Like, how do we stay creatively fulfilled, while paying our bills? How do you combine the two? I'd love for Zoey to chime in. How are you balancing? Because I think that's part of the concern when people think about, all right, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. I'm going to pick up and move. So how do you decide, like, how do you balance, your finances with chasing your dreams? I think that's a huge part. We kind of discussed that in a show last week. It's a huge part for an artist if you don't want to be a starving artist. How do you find that balance where you are creating projects and feeling satisfied in that role while also keeping food on the table?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I just got a job, so I'm very new at this. If I'm being perfectly honest. Before I moved, it was pretty easy because I was a dance teacher, and with that schedule, it was very easy for me to like manage doing both, and it was kind of built around that because obviously, like everybody who's working there pretty much is a performing artist, and so it was really easy for us to get substitutes and things like that. It was kind of built around that system. So this is the first time that I've had a little more of like an office job that I'm going to try to be balancing the two, and frankly, I got kind of lucky with this one too, because I'm working mostly on weekends and evenings, because it's a news media company. And so that's when we're covering the stories that we're covering, which is really, really nice because that means when things do open up, it's going to allow me to actually have the space and time like in my life to continue to audition. So I feel very, very lucky in what I found right now. And yeah, I think a lot of it's more about making sure we don't get burned out. And I feel like it's sort of nice because back when I was teaching dance, I poured so much creativity into teaching dance, like because obviously I'm choreographing all the time. And so by the time I got home, sometimes there would be very little left kind of in my like bucket of creativity. And so it's almost a little bit nicer what I have going on right now because this job, it involves a lot of things that I like, but it's not exceptionally creative. And it's kind of nice. I finished work and I still have all this energy and creativity that I want to spend elsewhere. And it's been really cool to be able to dedicate that to the things I really care about.
That's fantastic to find a way to use your art. So you were working as a dance teacher, and I think that's huge for all the creatives. Like think about every avenue of your creativity, you know, because you're a singer, but you're also a dancer and you're also an actor. So there's so many different areas where you could use your gifts to serve others in order to support yourself financially. I think that's huge for artists.
So in the next year, what are some of the things that you feel like, okay, we have 3-4 more months left in 2020. Have you set some goals? Is there things you're going to take some Zoom classes? You're reading some books. What are things that you're doing? Because I want to lock these in, and next time we talk to you, just get in touch and go, okay, how's that going? Did you finish that book? Did you take this class?
Yeah.
What kind of things are you hoping to do?
Great. Yeah. I mean, as far as classes go, I've been trying to take like 3 or 4 classes a week dance-wise. And I've been pretty good about that so far because a couple of the studios here, the small ones, are beginning to open up, which has been super, super nice. The big ones aren't open yet because it's not cost effective for them, but like the small studios can open with like 6 or fewer people. So it's been really, really nice to be able to do that. And yeah, I've been doing that 3 or 4 times a week, just maintaining my skill set. I've been trying to take voice once a week with my vocal coach. And then the part that gets a little tricky for me is acting because it's one of those things that's very hard to do alone in a vacuum. So that one's been a little more difficult for me to keep up, but the other 2 have been pretty reasonable. And besides that, yeah, over the next 4 months, I'm just trying to kind of continue this YouTube channel. Like it's been a really fun thing for me and a really good outlet to just kind of talk things out a little bit. So that's been really nice for me. So yeah, continue to do that, continue training. And then besides that, just kind of get settled into this job. I'm also trying to make sure that by the time auditions and things open up, I have built enough like credibility and just become comfortable enough in this position that maybe I can have a little more flexibility when certain things do come up. So yeah, it's pretty much my goals for the moment. They're small, but they're there.
No, that's great. That's really, really great. I mean, so all of us watching and listening on the podcast, I am super passionate about goals. I use a paper planner, and every week I go through my goals for the week, and then I love crossing them out. I'm a huge proponent of like Postit Notes. I just put things everywhere, like make sure I get things accomplished, because for me, it does something to feel like, oh wait, I set out to do something, I accomplished it, and this little tiny thing is a part of a larger project or a larger dream that I'm going after, and that is what's moving us forward. And we talk a lot in the creative world about dreams, and sometimes those can be really ethereal and really hard, to touch and hard to be tangible. But if you break things up into goals, like, so for the next 3 or 4 months, what do I want to do? I want to write a 120-page script. I want to, create a 10-page visual document called a treatment for my film. Those are things I can literally know I'm going to accomplish, little by little. So I think that's really cool. we're excited to kind of see where this goes for you. And if you're watching and are listening and you know people in New York, so this is where we want you to help support Zoey. This is where we want to create this creative tribe of people through Bravemaker, because this business, just like anything, it's relational. It's not just about who you know or who knows you. It's about building strong connections with people you want to do this work with, right? So if you know anybody in New York who could partner with Zoey in any way, or has connections in any of the, the theater, musical world, please reach out to her on her Instagram. We'll put it up visually if you're watching, and it'll be in the show notes on the podcast. But we want to see, this is our passion. We want to see people reach their dreams. We want to see people's voices be elevated, and really excited to see what the next 5 years of your life will look like, Zoey. And then say, I knew you for a decade. I knew you when. Is there anything specific you feel like you need that we could try to be helpful to get for you?
Oh gosh, honestly, no. I mean, yeah, any connections are helpful right now. I was kind of talking before we actually started the podcast, but I've been lucky in that I have a decent group of people here already. But I'd love to make more connections. That's really the big thing right now. And also, it's just really helpful to have people around you to like hold you accountable and keep you motivated and keep you going even on days when it doesn't feel like you want to keep working on this. So yeah, I think really a community. And that's pretty much it.
Right on. Christina, any final thoughts or comments or observations, questions?
Yes, what Zoey just said. Share people what your hopes and dreams are so that we can hold you accountable. I'm definitely a huge fan of that. That's actually why I'm wearing this King T'Challa shirt today, because I have committed to being in costume if I'm on camera until I get my comic book published. So I love accountability. I think that's a huge part of getting your goals accomplished. So yeah, thank you for putting that out there.
That's really cool. I love that. If you're watching this on one of our pages, like the Bravemaker page, or we're streaming live on Twitter at bravemaker.org right now, retweet this and retweet it with some goal that you have with the hashtag Bravemaker. That way we can keep each other encouraged, and or just make a comment on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channel that we're streaming to right now, because this is, I mean, sometimes it sounds so new agey and cheesy, but say it out loud, visualize it. This is all a part of it. And if somebody else is aware of your goal, aware of your creative dream, it will just be motivating. And hopefully we're motivating each other with, inspiring excitement and not, the finger wagging condemnation type thing. Like, why aren't you going after your goals? But yeah, I totally think that's a great idea. Just verbalize it, get it out there, do a vision board if that's your thing, whatever you got to do. But yeah, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to have Zoey back in October at some point. And we're looking for, if anybody has any suggestions on what we call her segment, like Zoey's Bravemaker Adventure, Zoey's New York Story, whatever. We're looking for something. But next month, we'll have a little branded video bumper to share. So we're excited about that. And yeah, anything else you want to say, Zoey?
No, that's pretty much it. Thank you for having me.
All right, cool. Yeah, well, we're excited to see where this goes. And if you're listening and watching, you need to know that Bravemaker is a 501c3 nonprofit. We can't do this work without your support. So we always appreciate those who donate. You can go to bravemaker.com/donate to make a tax-deductible donation today. If you like films and you like kind of stuff like this, you want to stay connected to what we're doing, we send out about 3 times a month. We send out an e-newsletter. You can sign up on bravemaker.com/buzz, and you can get all that. And we'd love for you to know October 24th, we will have a very, very special virtual party. It's so funny. This is our world right now, right? We're in the digital age where everything is happening on Zoom. But if you go to our website at bravemaker.com, you will see a way to register for this digital party. And there's going to be some really cool things happening on that day. It is going to be some live music. It's going to be some special announcements of things that are happening. We're going to talk about our new podcast that's featuring Christina Jackson called Wheel Queens. We're going to release some teasers and some clips of our new short film. So please, please, please join us 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, October 24th. And you can go to bravemaker.com right now to sign up. All right, well, that's all we got. And we always like to say, brave stories change the world.